Thank you, devotees. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So, we focused on the word Sukham Akshayam Ashmate. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. Vindati Atmani Yatsukham. Sa Brahma Yoga Yukta Atma Sukham Akshayam Ashmate. So, Krishna is talking about the qualities of a sage. Who is a person who is established in reality? One of the qualities is that Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. Bahya Sparsheshu means who is not eager to contact this world. Vindati Atmani Yatsukham. But instead of being in contact with the world, he is fixed in enjoying the nature of his own self. Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma. So, in this way, he, the self realized person, is enjoying unlimited happiness and he's connected because he's fixed on the Supreme Lord. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So, when we read these shlokas, especially in the Bhagavad Gita, and many of these shlokas actually talk about the qualities of a person who are fixed in the Lord. Like, for instance, in this one, right? So, they are fixed in the Lord. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma is fixed in the Lord. They are not attached to experiencing the objects of the senses. Right? So, how do we relate to where we are in this process? Because we might not be in that stage where we are Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. We are not so immune to the sensations of this world. There are multiple ways to do it. There are no specific ways to do it. But one thing we can definitely do and should do is when we read these shlokas, we should at least try to exhibit these qualities during the time we are chanting. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So, say this is the shloka. Now, there are various sensations that the soul would be exposed to, and during the time of chanting as well, there might be mobile notifications, or there can be some discomfort, or there can be previous sensations I had from my maybe from yesterday, or so. In this way, there can be various impulses, definitely, and those impulses will make us very agitated during the time of chanting. So this is Bahya Sparsha, sensations that are coming from outside. Outside world will always make us agitated. This is very natural because it gives us new information that we have to act on, right? So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. Asakta Atma means one who is detached from the Bahya Sparsha. But instead of Bahya Sparsha, Atmani Yatsukham, he is actually fixed in the happiness of the soul. Atmani Yatsukham. So, even if you are not able to do that during the entire day, definitely it's very difficult to come to the stage where the whole day, from morning to night, that we are not exposed to any outside sensations. We could, if we do that, if we do that from, one second. So, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So, it is very difficult to do so during the entire course of the day. And except maybe when we are continuously engaged in Krishna consciousness, from morning to night, if you are constantly just hearing and chanting about the Lord, then it is possible. If you're absorbed in Krishna consciousness throughout 24 hours, then we become Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. It's possible. But one second. So I was saying, so it is possible if you're continuously in Krishna consciousness. But if we are not continuously, um, which is the case for most of us, at least the case for me, for sure, what we can attempt is um, to cultivate these qualities that are there in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna talks about, at least during the time of chanting. So, if we are not even doing that, then that means we are not serious about Krishna consciousness. So, if you are saying, I will still be exposed to outside sensations, then we can never experience the real nature of the soul, actually. It's not possible. The real nature of the soul, only when we experience, we can be freed from our false natures. So we are actually suffering. Sometimes, you know, we simply hear an overarching generic advice, right? Chant more, read more. That is true. But we also need to understand simultaneously that every bad trait that we have, every bad anartha we have, says something about our desire on a very deeper level. So, for instance, say if you are very much attached to being angry, then we have some unanswered emotions where maybe we ascribe importance to someone too much in our life, and that person has a negative opinion about us, and we become too angry, we become too distressed. So every sensation we have, that it could be lust, or it could be anger, it could be greed, or it could be impatience, or it could be too much distraction, says something very profound, says something very important about our longings, our hankerings, or our mistakes, or our illusions. Okay, say something about all of this. Now, to extinguish us, and extinguish these tendencies from ourselves, we need to have real feelings. And as long as we don't have real feelings, then these false feelings will continue to dominate our life. Will continue to dominate our life. It has to, correct? And we can't even retrace our false feelings back, right? This is actually done during chanting, what Ashtanga Yoga calls Pratyahara. So, Pratyahara means you're trying to retrace your sensations back and you're trying to trace out its root. This requires a lot of reflection, and reflection cannot come in a space of rajas and tamas. It's not possible. So if we have to purify ourselves, we need to be in a space where we can reflect. And reflection can happen when we are when our mind becomes slowed down, which means it turns inward. Hmm? And this inwardness can come when we are uh, experiencing our true nature more and more and more. And we should have some discipline somewhere, and that is where I was saying, if during the time of chanting, if you make it a principle to implement these shlokas, to like for instance, every 9 p.m. reading, we read a Bhagavad Gita shloka, and we understand something about the qualities of what a pure devotee is. Like for instance, a Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So there are plenty of examples, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can understand. Or if Chaitanya Prabhu's example is too lofty, we can understand how Ajamila, uh, you know, did all he had. I mean, he did many mistakes, but at some point when he got the association of Vishnu Dutas, he disconnected himself from all this false association and went to a place where he can completely focus on the Lord. And that uh, push he gave himself. Of course, he repented a lot, and he gave himself that push to perform sadhana, to perform chanting. Chanting is our sadhana. So, a state where we are disconnected from this world, disconnected from news, disconnected from politics, disconnected from browsing what other people think, disconnected from social media, disconnected from the family. So, this disconnection is very important. Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So the more we can disconnect from this world, and the more often we do so, we can connect to Krishna. And it is not like we are like Mayavadis who say this world is false. No. When we can connect to Krishna, we can connect back to this world in a more meaningful way. Right now, our connection to this world is very meaningless. It is very haphazard. It is very whimsical. We don't have really a purpose when we connect to this world. It is more, most of the time, our sensations just taking us back to this world in a very whimsical manner, as I mentioned. So we don't have really a strategy when we integrate, when we engage in this world or engage with this world. So, but when we are connected to Krishna during the time of chanting, we exactly know what is the purpose of me being in this world. This is the clarity that connection to Krishna brings. And how do we connect to Krishna? How do we know we are connected to Krishna? When we enjoy, Vindati Atmani Yatsukham. Vindati, we say Govinda. So Krishna is the person who can give pleasure to the senses. So when we serve Krishna during the time of chanting, we surrender, we take that effort to disconnect on a very deep level all affiliations we have. Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. Asakta means we become detached and we prioritize Krishna during the time of chanting. Ruthlessly, no mercy, no mercy. Because if you show mercy, then you will forever be in this loop of being lost in this world. So, first of all, we must find ourselves, and we do that when we can disconnect ruthlessly. Because anyway, we have to do that during the time of death, is it not? So, Atmani Yatsukham. So, we have to take pleasure in the Lord only. Atmani Yatsukham. And our Atmani Yatsukham is take pleasure in the holy name of the Lord, who's the incarnation of Krishna in the time of Kali Yuga, right? So, uh, so at least during the time of chanting, we should, as a matter of principle, as a matter of dharma, as a matter of etiquette, as a, not as etiquette, but yes, brute force, yes. Dharma means there is no question of whether it's right or wrong, I feel or don't feel, right? So more questions you put around dharma, the more difficult it is to follow dharma. So questions, you should not put a lot of questions around dharma. Dharma means principles. Similarly, Bhagavata Dharma means I have to imbibe some principles of Bhagavata Dharma. That when I come before the Lord, I offer obeisances. When I chant Hare Krishna mantra, I give up all other thoughts. Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. So we can take any of these shlokas, and try to implement this. Remember this when the mind again goes back. No, Bahya Sparsheshu Asakta Atma. I want to completely follow Bhagavad Gita. And if I want to do that, at least I do this during the time of chanting. And the more we do that, then gradually we become purified, that we are able to do that gradually, bit by bit, step by step, little bit, anukarmishyati. We are able to do that during the rest of the day as well. So that's what I wanted to share today. Any questions or comments are welcome.
Prabhuji, quick question. I know you really gave us a procedure as to how consistently chanting and focusing inward and learning to detach from the external world. As we practice more and more, the more we can master it and we can live in that state of mind, transcendental mind, throughout the day. But if if a day is an ideal day with no ups and downs, that works. But if there are things that disturbs our mind, some could be, I mean, anything, disturbances in general, conflicts within the family, conflicts with at work, or whatever. I mean, some could be very minor, some could be major, that catches you off guard because it.
So that is what Krishna is giving us, the opportunity to disconnect from all of that nonsense. So, and we should embrace that opportunity. If we don't embrace that opportunity, that confusion is just going to get worse with day and time and age. When we are getting older, the the abnormalities of this world are not going to become any lesser. Our attachments are going to become more fears, and our mind is going to become more manda. Our body is going to become more weak and feeble. So, if at all I can change course, I can make use of this opportunity that Krishna is offering me to reverse my course of life, and that time is right now. And any more I delay, I'm just reinforcing these attachments more and more. So we should understand that all this mess, all this whole, what do you say? It's a mess. The world, anything other than Krishna is a mess. So we must come to this idea that understanding that it's a mess, and Krishna is giving me this opportunity to break free of this mess. Now, if I like that mess and I keep hovering over that, now where is the escape route? Right? Krishna is holding his hand and said, "Come out of this mess." But I'm continuously being here. My health is bad, my stomach is bad, my teeth is bad, my children, like, okay, fine, but is it going to become any better from now on? No, something or other is going to go bad. Right? So we should give a very stern voice. We should not be on the platform of moral relativism. Moral relativism means this is also okay, that is also okay, everything is fine. No, right? So this is really bad, and I need to take action right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. That really helps.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.